Another reason why I left religion, church, Christianity, and fundamentalism is that churches teach its members that women exist solely to serve man and have children. For you women like myself who grew up in churches, fundamentalists like Baptists, and the only time women were discussed was if they were a wife, a mother, or a single woman looking for a husband. I rarely, if ever, heard any positive things said about single women. I mean, if you Google Christian sermons on YouTube about singlehood, the churches I went to, there was little to nothing for single people, especially women. If you weren't in college and weren't married by 32, there was nothing for you after you graduated high school. And for women, you got out of high school, there was nothing until you were married or engaged. And the church, they want you to get over that period of singlehood very fast, get married, and start pumping out kids. Because singlehood isn't respected in the church. How many single pastors have you seen? I have not. Pastors are always married or they're widowed. And you cannot get in senior positions of authority in the Baptist church unless you fit the guidelines, which is a married husband with kids. That's why all presidents of the United States, but one, have been married. Because you can't gain and maintain authority without being a husband and a father. That's why people like Trump want to protect and defend the sanctity of marriage, because it gives men respectability, even though they're not respectable. You're not respectable because you can have kids. I mean, Casey Anthony could have had kids. Chris Watts had kids. That doesn't make you a decent person. It means you should do better, but it doesn't mean you're a decent human being. And girls from the cradle are taught in secular and fundamentalist churches that your goal is to get married and have kids. That's your career. Anything beyond that is rare and really isn't encouraged. There are denominations, I've watched videos of people who've escaped Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness. Jehovah's Witness, they, up until recently, they did not want people going on to secular secondary education unless it was a theology degree. And it was strictly only for males. Women should grow up being taught that they have the skills and maybe the tenacity to become president, become a Supreme Court justice, be a teacher. Even though with the violence in schools, I'm pretty sure a lot less people want to be teachers. But it's still a respectable career. But that's not what fundamentalist churches teach their girls or their men. Girls are taught that you're supposed to be a wife and mother. That's your chief responsibility. And if you want to do anything beyond that, you're out of order. It's out of God's design. While men can have any career they want and really do anything they want, even if they're not home most of the time. It's such a double standard. Women have to give everything up, but except for the thing that comes out of their body. There are Christian denominations that don't believe in birth control. Women, if that's your goal and you want to be a mother and have a kid or two, fine. But it should not be your goal from birth where you are taught that. because that is misogyny. Girls and boys can do whatever they want, provided you work hard and have the knowledge, the good grades, and sometimes you have to get lucky to get the dream you want. Sometimes it will cost you money. It will definitely cost you money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you might have to work harder than anyone else because you don't have a lot of money. But I was raised in a culture where women are villainized for having their own career. Women are villainized for putting their career over their husband and their kids, even though that's what's expected of men. Men's career are always primary. And if someone has to give up their job or lose part of their career opportunities, it's probably going to always be the woman that loses out. That's why being called wife material may not be such a compliment. And my own mother believes that women should not have careers. And that's only if you can't survive on one person's salary. There isn't equality. Her career is not as important as the man. And she's not making as much money, most likely. And if a woman makes more money than her spouse, she'll probably be punished for it. Because that's the way the patriarchy works. Marriages end because the husband cannot deal with the fact that his wife makes more money. And it's so sad that women are punished because of their gender. I mean, if your name sounds African American on a resume, you just lost about 22% chance of being hired because recruiters can be racist. If you're not white or male, it's much harder to find a job. And being a wife is a job. It's an unpaid one usually, but it's a job. And the sad part about all of this is how little people in religious environments view women. It's so sad how people treat each other, how Christianity views women, and it's just deplorable. Why any woman would go to a church is beyond me. The way they're viewed is less than. I mean, last time we talked about that. Religion has very little positive to say about women. And women, they're good leaders. They can have their own careers. If you've never found what career you wanted, or you wanted to use your skills to be a mother, fine. But I wonder how many women became wives and mothers because that was the only career, the only life choice that was ever honored in that way. And it's so sad. How many people have had children and then realized, you know what, I just don't like kids. Now it's too late. And by the time you have kids, it probably is too late. If you don't know what you want, the problem with religion, according to what I've experienced, is religion tells you you have to do this. And anyone who does anything but that, or does that in the wrong way, they're damned for all eternity. And it's utter nonsense. You don't even have to get married anymore. If that's what you want to do, and that's something that's important to you, fine. But you don't have to get married to have kids. You don't have to get married for any reason besides it's something that I want to do.